fracture. These channels here, this was a fracture here. It lets some smoke in. So that the fractures tend to be part of the patterning. And yeah, if you cut openings, you can allow more reduction in.
I've never seen so many people taking notes at a workshop
really?
Here at the Pendle workshop.
You know, a nice thing about that.
This is the most note taking I've ever seen.
You know, when you're firing stoneware and you're formulating glazes, it seems like until you mix the glaze and fire it, it's kind of abstract. This is really an example of direct illustration of the material teaching you what it's going to do. You don't have to know what it's going to do. You just put it in proximity to the piece, fire it, and then you can read this. You kind of read this like a book, you know. It's going to tell you a story, and that's what I like about it. I don't have to know what to interpret. You interpret the effects of what you get, and draw conclusions or hunches, or you're still in a state of mystery. I think that it's important to still have that element. So if you ask questions, well, what's this going to do? What's that going to do? I don't really know exactly what it's all doing, except for, like, cobalt sulfate will impart blue. You'll get some blue vaporing from it. But what I like about it is you don't go from an abstract sort of premise to go through that process. You're always dealing directly with the material. The material is going to tell you what it's going to do once you put it through the process. And it's easy to understand.
Which cobalt is it?
This is cobalt sulfate. So I got the slab ready. I'm going to do a kind of a cut on the bottom of this. It's real thin. I'm just going to cut this. You might say that there's some correlations between this and printmaking. You know, kind of like monoprints. This would be a surface that's going to print on here. Put a little salt on here first. A little salt goes a long way.
Kosher salt? Rock salt?
This is just rock salt. You know, salt is salt.
Yeah.
Kosher, American, British, it don't matter. It's all sodium. So kosher salt, this coarse ground kosher salt is already ground down finer. You know, I mean, I like a little variety of size to salt, so I use rock salt, and I'll grind it a little bit, so I've got fine salt versus. I'm not going to put salt over this entire surface. I tend to put salt in the edges. And also the coarsest kernels of salt, sometimes you get kind of an eclipse halo. I think here's one. See that? Reminds me of an eclipse. You get either a dark center or a light center. A kernel will brew and take longer to fume. You know, and it'll sit there and kind of boil longer. So you tend to get more distinct haloing sometimes around it. At least it seems that way.
So are you ever concerned about the chlorine gas?
Well, a little hydrochloric in the atmosphere is just sort of necessary once in a while. No. I stay out of it. Yeah, I don't sit over and breathe it. Yeah, I wouldn't. These let off very little. You're using very little salt. But yeah, it's not a good idea to be breathing it. So I stay upwind from it. Another thing about this is, if you're doing raku, you know, this is in the same temperature range as raku. You put a couple of Saggar wrap pieces that have copper and salt in them, next to a couple of glazed pieces or partially glazed pieces in a raw crude fire. These can be your fuming agent. They can fume, and you can get fugitive fuming onto the pieces that are partially glazed. That's good. Good.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Long time.
Yeah,
How you been?
pretty good.
Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Tom Collins. We call him Topcat Sheperd. He's appearing at Woodstoke this year. One of our prime teachers at Woodstoke, June 14th through the 18th. And he's appearing with Paul Sommer over there, who's really not teaching this workshop. He's just staying out of it. Right, Paul?
Paul's here as an osmosis agent, you know, he's just...
I shouldn't say that because he's teaching a lot. You know,
Engineering.
I don't travel a lot. About as far as I get away from home is Penryn, California. So I love the coast. You know, I grew up part of my life on the Gulf Coast, but I also like being in Colorado. So this is our local brand of seaweed, Tamarisk. I get my seaweed from friends who scuba dive and take annual trips to the Caribbean or, you know, the South Atlantic or the Gulf. And I only for reasons of I was just kind of curious to keep things segregated. This is Dominican Republic seaweed. This is Seattle seaweed. Got it from Meg Ryan on one of her trips. No, just kidding. We were on the Oregon coast a couple years ago, and I happened to collect some there. The interesting thing is,
yeah, it is. And it's other things too.
There's a lot of living creatures.
Yeah.
You can smell them rotting.
Yeah.
Rotting creatures.
These guys, well, they're falling apart actually.
I think they might be called limpets, but I'm not sure.
These guys, do you know what they are? They were blue on the outside, and then they have these nice little lines. I have no idea what they're.
Part of the seaweed?
No.
you know, John, it'd probably be all right. You know, but it is so fine. Could get some skinny going. Maybe it's just to get more in chill. As long as those 40 days. What's fun is to put the Saggar pieces in the rock.
The blue stuff?
Glazed and unglazed rock.
The pink? No, the blue rock salt that she's got. Oh, it's his own personal stuff.
It's pink.
And the blue cover you have to make red?
That's what we hear.
Yeah, you could block it
We'll
under.
find out.
I'm gonna try
It
some.
kind of boils down to what's accessible. You know what I mean?
Great smell. But it would have to be a Kono 6 glaze.
Oh, somebody's got some copper sulfate.
Yeah,
we
is that
brought
good?
that.
Oh, it probably is, yeah.
We don't know.
I am using it.
We had 5 pounds of it, so we brought some.
Yeah, great.
I just wanted to know, did I use
Oh,
too
you know,
much?
hey,